Well. It has come to this. Poor kids. You're wrong. Hi, this is Aoi Hashiba and welcome to my channel, where I talk, stream, and create anything Yu-Gi-Oh! Related. As a subs-only watcher, as well as reading the manga more times than I can remember, I was suggested by my fans to dive into the 4Kids universe to finally see what you guys grew up with. After all, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was everywhere back in the day, especially the card game, and a lot of you only know this version of the show. So, I thought it would be fun to see what your childhood looked like. And boy, was I in for a shock! Yugi doesn't know what's in his deck! An accessory card! We're 6 minutes in, and I'm screaming for an hour!
We just had the scene where Autumn is begging. What did I just see? And Yugi's like being no, sit down?
Must we do this my way?
What is this?
Hiding behind that mirror wall is a
Nope!
No. Just a huge no.
And we're only on episode 57 by the time of uploading this video. 4Kids had taken so many liberties with the show. What irked me the most weren't the finger guns, or removing religious imagery, or even changing the names. No. There were some changes that shouldn't affect the story so much, but adding them up accumulates into this giant mess of inconsistencies and contradictions, and apparently a Pokemon plot. You know, gotta collect all the rare cards, aka gotta collect all the Pokemon. No wonder Duel Monsters sound like cats and crows and freaking peacocks.
A whole new game? Hardly, Yugi!
I thought there'd be a way of bringing that.
What is that caw? Why do we have a caw? Aside from that, the more prominent change that literally happened in the very first line of episode 1.
Now, 5,000 years later, 5,000 years later, 5,000 years later.
So, why did 4Kids change 3,000 years into 5,000 years? That was the question that was posed in one of my live streams. And to be honest, with all the shenanigans that they've done so far, it's best to just say 4Kids have no logic. Kazuki Takahashi knew exactly what he was doing. Screw your plot. The end. Okay. But in all seriousness, why did they decide that? Was it a good idea to change the setting from the 18th dynasty to the 1st dynasty? Because apparently magic only existed in the prehistoric times? Or because 5,000 years, aka 3,000 years BC, sounded cooler and more mysterious? Well, joke's on them, because I'm here to prove them wrong!
Holy! Oh!
But before we start, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, as well as check out Yu-Gi-Oh! GTT and follow me on my Boosty page for the next episode in the series. Spoilers ahead for the show and the manga. As was stated in the manga, Autumn ruled somewhere between 1549 to 1292 BC, aka the 18th dynasty. If we go even further, around 1341 to 1323 BC, there was a boy Pharaoh who died around the age of 80 and 90, mysteriously, before a high priest or a grand vizier succeeded him. He fully restored Waset, or Thebes, and consolidated the return of the old religious ways. A mistake the boy Pharaoh's father made in his own rule. Does that ring any bells? Let's dive into that. But first, we're starting off with a name, or a title, that the people will refer to him throughout the whole show.
Pharaoh?
The Pharaoh who saved the world was you, Yami.
Pharaoh, it's you!
Oh, hey, Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, are you here?
Pharaoh, Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been known as Yami.
Pharaoh? Hey, Pharaoh. Pharaoh!
No! That title alone is already a problem! The title, Pharaoh, consists of Pair and O. Pair meaning a house, and O, great. In earlier dynasties, it was the title of the royal palace and was used only in references to the buildings of the court. Only sometime in the 18th dynasty did Pharaoh become a form to address the king, the ruler of Upper and Lower Egypt. The file records show that Pair was already used to address Amenhotep IV, who later in his reign changed his royal tutelary to Akhenaten. Akhenaten, huh? Akhenamhanen. Akhenamhanen? But that's Autumn's father. Let's take a closer look at his name. His name consists of Aken, an effective spirit, serviceable to, or satisfied, or Ankh, life, and Anen, a name of an Egyptian nobleman and official of the 18th dynasty. Wait a minute! And more importantly, Akhenaten abandoned the old gods of Egyptian religion, worshipping sun disk Aten as the only deity. Wait a minute! Only after his death was the traditional religion gradually restored by his successor, Tutenaten, or as we know him after he changed his name to Tutankhamun, a living image of a moon. Wait a damn minute! Since we're already discussing names, let's talk about Autumn's name, shall we? Autumn, or Atum, is the name of the primordial god in Egyptian mythology, from whom all else rose. I am not going to the details of how he did it, or YouTube will flag this video as adult content. Autumn's name is thought to be derived from the verb tm, which means to complete or to finish. Thus, he has been interpreted as being the complete one. Should I be repeating myself? Does this ring any bells, huh? Especially if we take into account that in order for Autumn to remember His soul needed to be completed by assembling the Millennium puzzle, assembling the Millennium items, and the only way to return his memories was to recall his name, thus completing himself. 4 kids! Are you sure this man didn't know what he was doing?
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
After remembering his name, only then he was able to summon the creator god of light, Horakti. Just look at her design, especially the autumn disc behind her, appearing with falcon wings. Not to mention, Horakti, Horus of Horizons, or Ra-Horakti, shows Ra as a symbolic deity of hope and rebirth. Oh my god! Also guys, a fun note. Pharaoh Tutmosis III dedicated the pillars of Heliopolis to Horakti, who was Akhenaten's great-great-great-great-grandfather and the 5th ruler of the 18th dynasty. Again, should I be repeating myself? Even if we remove the probable inspiration for Autumn, there are more things that suggest that the story takes place in the 18th dynasty. Believe me. Let's take a look at this panel right here. Notice anything peculiar? Very pointed. The tip looking directly at the sun. Autumn said the perfect symmetry from all the angles. Right. There can only be one thing. Kaiba's bow pyramids! No, guys, seriously. The pyramids. You might be wondering, like, aren't these structures old? Like, old? Yeah. Yeah, they are. Were they built before the 18th dynasty? Oh yeah, by thousands of years, So, the 5,000-year time slot checks out, right? Nope. What? Let's start with the basics, shall we?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Presumably, by 4Kids logic, Autumn lived in the first dynasty, which is 3200 to 3000 BC. Okay, so from what we've seen, Upper and Lower Egypt have already been unified by King Menes, often believed to be Narmer, the Scorpion King. Again, the title of the pharaoh doesn't refer to the ruler at this period of time, so everything is already falling apart. But let's try this. So, Menes cannot be Autumn simply because in his story, Kemet, or Egypt as we refer to it now, has already been prospering. Neither he nor his father were unifying Egypt in any shape or form. So, that leaves us with 2 people, Hor-Aha and his son, the Jer. And we can squeeze in the Jet for funsies? Hor-Aha's reign is unknown, but is presumed to start somewhere in 3100 BC. Jer ruled approximately 54 years, from 3000 BC, and his son, the Jet, became the next ruler for a short period of time, about 6-10 years, around 2980 BC. I mean, okay, not bad, we can make this work.
Okay, kid. Give it to me.
Not much is known about Jer's rule, only that he ruled for many years and that he was buried in el-Kab in Abydos. there were several objects that were found in and around the tomb. We'll get back to these later. Let's move on to Jet, Serpent of Horus. For how long exactly he ruled is up to debate, not to mention the details of his reign are also lost. There are only vessel fragments that suggest intense trading activities with Syria and Canaan at the time. His name has survived on a well-preserved seal. There was an ivory comb with his name on it too, along with a picture of the seal. Copper tools and pottery were also found. Wait, copper? Oh no. Let's ignore copper for now. Okay, so let's see. After the Jed died, it was possible that his wife, Marnave, became the regent and possibly the first female ruler / king of Egypt. Oh no! Not a priest, huh? Maybe after her we have someone? Son of a bitch! Fine. Let's just completely ignore all the kings of that time. After all, Atum technically didn't exist, right? So we could just insert him into the story. I mean, after all, it's a fantasy, it's a fiction. Let's just take a look at the king's burial place. Surely they were buried in the pyramids, right? Right? Oh, for fuck's sake. El-Kab is a necropolis at Abydos. The tomb's architecture, ceramics, and seal imprints recovered at the site indicate that the cemetery was most likely established in 4000 BC. During the First Dynasty, the site continued as a royal cemetery. Only the later two kings of the Second Dynasty were buried there. Starting from the Middle Kingdom, 1938 BC, the pre- and early dynastic royal cemetery at El-Kab became a place of worship and cultic activity. It continued to be in use for nearly 1500 years until the Ptolemaic dynasty. During the Middle Kingdom, a temple devoted to Osiris was constructed north of El-Kab during the reign of Senwosret I. Osiris' temple became a destination for pilgrims, and an annual festival was established in his honor. Because of the event, King Jer's tomb, now renamed Osiris' tomb, became inseparably tied to the temple. The celebration took place from July to September during the annual flooding of the Nile. Okay, so back then, the kings were buried in Mastaba. So, when was the very first pyramid created? Picture this. At Saqqara, Mastaba 3808, dated from the later part of the First Dynasty, was discovered to contain a large, independently built, step pyramid-like structure. Then, in the Third Dynasty, King Djoser built the earliest Egyptian pyramid ever recorded in history. In order to create the step pyramid we see today, the Pyramid of Djoser was originally constructed as a square mastaba-like building, which is often recognized to be rectangular. The structure was then extended several times by a sequence of layers. The dynastic Egyptians themselves did not attribute the design of the pyramid, nor the innovation of the stone construction to Djoser's vizier, Imhotep. No, not this one. Despite the fact that Egyptologists frequently identify him as its creator. According to them, this architecture functioned as a massive staircase that allowed the pharaoh's spirit to ascend to the sky. And you may ask, what year was it constructed? In 2650 BC. But that's not all. This pyramid, as well as the whole necropolis, is located in Saqqara, which is 26 kilometers, or 16 miles away from the Great Pyramids of Giza, the ones everyone associates Egypt with. All were built during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom of Ancient Egypt. And that's not all. The pyramid fields include the Abusir, Saqqara, as mentioned prior, and Dahshur pyramid complexes, which were all built in the vicinity of Egypt's ancient capital of Memphis. And how far is el-Qam from Memphis? Approximately 525 kilometers, or 326 miles. Yeah. Even if we decide to go by 4Kids theory, which at this point is a huge stretch, if the pyramids were built in the first dynasty, they still wouldn't have been seen from Memphis at all. And Memphis has been the capital since King Menes. So, no matter how you twist and turn it, the whole 3000 BC or 5000 years ago doesn't work. Now, how about the MacGuffin that actually started the whole story? It's time to talk about the Millennium items. As we know, the Millennium items were created in order to protect Egypt from invading armies. When Akhenaten ordered the people of Kuel killed, and their blood and bone and flesh melted with the gold, which was cast in this mysterious ceremony that created the items. In order to create them, gold working needed to be on the highest level, without any dents or bends. Solid, cast gold objects. Let's go back to that knife real quick, shall we? It was found in Jer's tomb. Reminder, First Dynasty. The ceremonial knife is made fully of flint, but the handle is covered in a golden sheet hammered into shape around it. Jer's name is also inscribed on it. But with such techniques, I am not so sure that Millennium items could have been melted and hammered enough into shape.
Hey, come here! No, I think he's had enough!
Now, let's take a look at Tutankhamun's ceremonial dagger that was found in his tomb. The handle is made out of gold and quartzite. The sheath is completely gold too. By the time of the New Kingdom, goldsmiths have perfected their techniques, hammering just like they've done before, but now not only they created gold sheets, These gold sheets were as thin as 1 micron. These were used for gilding objects, such as a wooden shrine of Tutankhamun, which featured gold leaf applied over the plaster base. The lost wax method allowed for precise casting of small figurines, like a solid gold statuette of Tutankhamun, which is 5 centimeters tall or 2 inches tall.
Oh, my eye!
Let's take a look at Autumn's jewelry, especially his crown. Here is an example of the first dynasty's jewelry. And here's an example of the 18th dynasty. Another of first, and another of 18th. I would also like to mention the crown of Tutmosis III's foreign wife. Achieving such a shape and details takes great craftsmanship. Do I need to say more about gold working?
You got him!
Not good enough!
He learned his lesson!
I could also discuss the weaponry shown in the anime and manga. After all, in the 18th dynasty, they've already been forging them from bronze. I told you I would come back to copper. But at this point, it's like beating a dead horse.
Oh, you crazy!
Yeah, keep running!
Okay.
So, my beautiful watcher, what have we learned today? 4-Kids suck. The way that they've Americanized the story completely annihilates its original concept and detail. They should have followed the script. I mean, they've actually dubbed a few uncut episodes. Like, come on! I guess I'll continue screaming at them in my live streams, pointing out all the inconsistencies, the small and the significant changes. And, overall, seeing what your childhood looked like. Maybe I too will get to experience your childhood nostalgia. But I swear, if you do the same thing one more f***ing time, I am going on the... Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment your thoughts on the topic. And if you're new here, welcome! I screen at 4Kids 3 times a month! And if you want to see more, please do check out other videos on my channel and Yu-Gi-Oh! GTT. They should be appearing somewhere on the screen. A big shout out goes to my wonderful Boosty subscribers, Nox and Mafia Gravity. You guys are amazing! If you want to see your name displayed on my videos, check out my Boosty and start reading episode 3 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GTT today. Now, with all that being said, go pick up Sensei's manga and start reading right now!